Alright everyone, how are you doing? I'm Unruly and welcome back to Unruly Horror. This is what I bought this month, December 2022. We are a few days away from 2023, which is going to be probably one of the busiest years in my life, because I've got Monday Blues coming up and it's just going to be a load of hard work. And just want to quickly shout out my mum's friend who sadly passed away on the 19th of December. I'll remember her always. But anyway, this is what I bought. I definitely thought I was going to have to do this video without everything I ordered, because I ordered a lot. It was Christmas, you know, and some of the stuff literally only arrived yesterday, and I was going to give it to the 31st and then I was going to have to record, but luckily no, everything came, and my god, this is going to be a long video. One of them I'm not too sure, but I've just bought it anyway. I hope everything here is horror, because if no, wait, no, there's more actually. 2 seconds, I forgot a few DVDs. I've just noticed. I'm back. I forgot I went to Asda yesterday and got a lot more. Like Asda, you need to take away the Music Magpie section. I'm going there and I'm buying about £20 worth of DVDs for either £1 or £2. And yeah, I'm running out of room. So yeah, I got a few horrors. One of them, it's not really horror, it's horror-ish, but Dead Meat made a kill count on it, and you know Dead Meat will only do a kill count if it is horror or horror adjacent, horror related. You know, he wouldn't just do like a drama film or thriller film. So yeah, anyway, gee, this is gonna be a long video, I think. Let's get on to the first one. So there's the 4 Blu-rays, and then there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 DVDs and a box set. So anyway, first off is Saw 3D, called Saw the Final Chapter. Apologies for that. It is Saw 3D, also known as Saw the Final Chapter. It's not the final chapter, but back then, God, what was this, 2011? I remember because I was in my last year of school when this came out, when I started me last year of school. Yeah, it came out on DVD in like January 2011. That's when I watched it. It came out in 2010, technically. So yeah, I liked it. I really did like this one. I thought as a final chapter, final goodbye, it was pretty good. Then, you know, 8 years later comes along Jigsaw. So, I can't describe the plot. Just going to read it. It's pretty dark here. So, do I need glasses? I don't know. The most twisted, gruesome and successful horror franchise in the world. Saw the Final Chapter, a deadly battle rages over Jigsaw's brutal legacy as a group of Jigsaw survivors gather to seek the support of Help Guru and fellow survivor Bobby Dagan, who, this film is, it's the main focus, it's his game that we see. Soon all the survivors really must help themselves as Dagan's dark secrets unleash a new wave of terror. Yeah, he says he survived. Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Okay? He says he survived a trap by hooking 2 like hooks in his pec muscles and hoisting himself up, but he didn't. He just stabbed himself, making him have the scars. And I'm going to say this is one of the most cruelest deaths, in my opinion, in any of the franchise. His poor wife gets burned alive in the, what do you call it, brazen bull. That's it. She did nothing. She just married him. She didn't know he was lying. Honestly, it's pretty dark. So yeah, it follows him, Chester Bennington's in this for one scene. I remember that. You've got the return of Dr. Gordon, who everybody thought had died, but I had a suspicion he was alive. I think it was 2008 when I started watching Saw, and I was like seeing all the videos about it. I was like, yeah, he's alive, has to be. So yeah, not going to spoil it completely. Go and watch it for yourself if you haven't already seen it. It would, I don't know where I'm going to put these. Shove them behind here. Next up is a film I haven't seen. It's The Awakening. Rebecca Hall, Dominic West, and Amelia Staunton. 3 very good actors. See if I can read it. It's light, but like at the same time it's a bit dark. Post-World War I England, 1921. An author and paranormal skeptic, aren't they all in these type of films, is invited to a countryside boarding school by the headmaster to investigate rumours of apparent haunting. I've seen this trailer. I've seen the trailer for this a few times. It looks spooky. Where was I? But just when she thinks she has debunked the ghost theory, a chilling encounter makes her question all of her beliefs. I like that. I like those kind of storylines. I created a short story, that was a bit like this, where it was a skeptic who goes with investigators, and, he debunks them until he has an experience. Okay, I'll quickly share. He has an experience. So he's sitting in the basement in my story, and he feels a hand on his shoulder. Like, he physically feels it. And he thinks one of the parent turns, and there's no one. And he looks, and he can see the indent to where there's a hand. And writing that, and his thought process of seeing, but feeling, right now is very good, because I'm going to go to a lot of detail. But anyway, this is going to be a good watch, I think. I like films like this. Tension works best with these type of films. Oh, my cup's in the way. Right, there we go. Next up is Saw 6. When did this came out? 2008, 2009? I remember I rewatched this in 2010 quite a bit to get ready for Saw 3D. Because I thought maybe there's some clue what's going to go on. Because after Saw 3, it really became kind of a long play story where all the films connect. So yeah, Special Agent Strome is dead, as you see in the end of Saw 5. I just want to say Saw was the first horror franchise I truly fell in love with. Like Child's Play, I would say, was the first horror franchise I ever saw, but this one was, it captivated us. I heard so much about it from when I was in year 7, and when I finally did watch it in year 8, I was like, ah. Detective Hoffman has emerged as the unchallenged successor to Jigsaw's legacy. However, when the FBI draws closer to Hoffman, he is forced to set a game into motion, and Jigsaw's grand scheme is finally understood. Yeah, Saw 6 was classed as the one where you finally get to know about Jigsaw, his motives for doing all this and everything. Yeah, it's good. It follows, I don't know any names. It follows him. Oh, him. She won Scream Queens, and that's how she got the role in the film. Interesting fact that I didn't know when I watched this. Yeah, it follows that insurance guy because he denied insurance to John Jigsaw, when he had cancer, and he's got this pit. That game has been voted the best trap. Yeah, so it's him. He goes around the zoo and he basically has to pick who dies and who survives. Like, you normally would with the as the health insurance thing, and because it proves like how nasty they are. And so basically, he does a clever jigsaw, because he's like, he has this old woman who has a lot of family, but then there's this man who is a loner, no family, young, healthy compared to old. His policy would say that the young man survives, but he's thinking about the family, so he, you know, it's a lot of moral diversity, not diversity, moral something, I can't think. But yeah, very good film. Not the best one in the series, or the worst one. I don't know if I made a list about the Saw films. I'll have to go find out. Next one is a film, The Limehouse Golem. I had not heard of this at all. I don't even know if I've seen the trailer for it, but it was in the horror section on Music Magpie. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. My voice is going, sorry. Don't know if you can tell, I've had a bad throat for like a few days, not a week. Victorian London is gripped with fear as serial killer, dubbed the Limehouse Golem, is on the loose and leaving cryptic messages written in his victim's blood. With a few leads and increasing public pressure, Scotland Yard assigns the case to Inspector Kildare, a seasoned detective with a troubled past and a sneaking suspicion he's been set up to fail. Faced with a list of suspects, including music hall star Dan Leno, Kildare must discover which one is the killer before the golem strikes again. Ooh, so it's like a whodunit murder mystery. Ooh. Before the Ripper, fear had another name. That, I like whodunits, I like murder mysteries like that, so that should be good. Right, 9 minutes and we just got the Blu-rays done. God help us. Okay, DVDs now. First one is a recent one. It made headlines because they publicised it at a baseball game where they hired actors to stand in the crowd and, well, smile. I don't smile much. Oh, it's a slipcover as well, and so, well, still got a security tag on. Yeah. So, I don't know anything about this either. Once you see it, it's too late. I don't want to say it's like the Bye Bye Man, because I want it to be better than the Bye Bye Man. But yeah, after witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Ross Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. As an overwhelming terror begins taking over her life, Rose must confront her troubled past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. That does sound good. I don't know what it's about, and I can't wait to watch it. Next up is a film I remember seeing on a few top 10 lists. It's based on a Stephen King story, if I'm not mistaken. It is 40. It was £1. That's where I got it. A lot of these have still got the price tags on from when I went Asda. 1408. I've read it's meant to be kind of a psychological horror. I mean, it's Stephen King, so you know I wouldn't doubt it. God, I can't even read. Based on a story by suspense master Stephen King, 1408. Sorry, this is a gripping roller coaster of a head trip that will have you on the edge of your... I need to put the light on. Give me 2 seconds. That's a bit better. They'll have you on the edge of your seat. John Cusack delivers a tour de force performance as a skeptical writer investigating paranormal events when he insists on staying at the reportedly haunted room 1408 at the Dolphin Hotel against the grave warning of the hotel manager. He discovers the room's deadly secret, an evil so powerful no one has ever survived an hour within its walls. In the tradition of King, The Shining and Misery, 1408 is a psychologically thrilling movie that leaves you gasping in the end. I can't wait to watch that. I have seen some clips of it and it does look good. Next up is the horror-ish Jurassic World. Yeah, Dead Meat covered it, so I thought, might as well include it. It's horror-esque because of some reason. I can't remember the reason what James said. But it's a kill count, so that counts as horror. I mean, do I even need to read? Do we know what it's about? I've even seen it a few times. 22 years ago, John Hammond envisioned a theme park where guests could experience the thrill of witnessing actual dinosaurs. Today, Jurassic World welcomes tens of thousands of visitors, but something sinister lurks behind the park's attractions. A genetically modified dinosaur with savage capabilities. When chaos erupts across the island, Owen and Claire race to restore order as a day in the park becomes a struggle for survival. If you haven't seen it yet, then lift the rock you're under. Go get on DVD or stream it on whatever streaming platforms it may be on. Okay, next up is a film I haven't seen, but I have seen the first one a few times. It's The Grudge 2. I've seen the first Grudge. I've seen the original Ju-On Grudge. I think Ju-On was the original one. I'm not quite sure. This series, man, it started out as short films, and then it had a few Japanese films, and then this one came, the American came along, and I can't give you a timeline. So I don't actually know what this one's about. I haven't seen it. I may watch it later. When Audrey Davis learns of her sister Karen has been hospitalized, she immediately flies to Tokyo. Once there, she learns her sister's horrifying story and discovers that the fatal supernatural curse has been unleashed. Now, as the grudge spreads across the world, a new host of unsuspecting victims are about to become infected by the force that can't be stopped and won't be killed. Well, that really does sound good, doesn't it? Wow. And Sam Raimi, I mean, you know what he's capable of. Okay, next is a film I have seen. I haven't seen it. I've watched YouTube videos about it, and I've read about it. Because this one is a film I used to see everywhere. Every time I went to HMV, and every time I went to other video stores, this would be there. All the time, and I don't know why I didn't buy it. But it is Triangle. I love the art. I love that because that hints perfectly at what the actual story is. So when Jess sets sail with a group of friends, she cannot shake the feeling that there is something wrong. Then the yacht hits a storm and the group is forced to board a passing ocean liner, a ship Jess is convinced she's been on before. Although it appears deserted, they soon find they are not alone. Someone is intent on hunting them down one by one, and Jess unknowingly holds the key to the end terror. I haven't seen it, I know what it's about though, and I would highly recommend, if you have not seen this before, you go out and you watch it, because this, like I say, that's a hint. That's a hint. I love it when the covers do that. Next up is a film I haven't seen, but it's actually based, I've got a story. It's actually based on a true event. And I know someone whose family member was a victim of this certain killer. Wolf Creek. Don't know what that is. One of the scariest. Okay. 3 backpackers heading to the beautiful and isolated Australian outback in the dilapidated car. After several days of driving, they finally arrive at their destination, Wolf Creek National Park, a mysterious area where a meteorite landed. After exploring the terrain, they discover that their watches don't work and their car won't start. As panic sets in and the trio prepare to spend the night in the middle of nowhere, they notice the headlights of a car emerging from the darkness. So begins the group's encounter with one of the most terrifying madmen in the history of film. Based on a true event, Wolf Creek is guaranteed to have you on the edge of your seat. Yeah, I've seen the kill count on this. I know kind of what happens, but it is definitely one that's like stranger danger. Next up is another recent one. Actually, don't know when. This is a recent one. That's a recent one. That's a recent one. No idea about that film. I've actually got a lot of new films, weirdly enough. So next up is a film that was just covered on Dead Meat a few weeks ago. It was Black Phone. And if you know, oh, it's got the Shadow Prowler short film as well. Ooh. Yeah. Finney, weird name. A shy but clever 13-year-old boy is abducted by a sadistic killer and trapped in a soundproof basement when screaming is of little use. When a disconnected phone on the wall begins to ring, Finney discovers that he can hear the voices of the killer's previous victims, and they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Finney. Yeah. It's based on the Joe Hill novel. I believe it's a novel. It could be a short film. It could be. I know Joe Hill made the story up. It actually looked really good, and I think Ethan Hawke, based on the kill count, did a fantastic job. My sore throat's getting worse now. Careful. Next up is a film I haven't seen. It only came out recently, but I have seen the first one. Terrifier 2. Art the Clown makes Pennywise look like Ronald McDonald. He's terrifying. Look at that face. Yeah. If you've got a fear of clowns, don't watch this film. Yeah. I haven't seen it though. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, because yeah, he pretty much at the end of the first one. Spoiler. Demented killer Art the Clown returns to Miles County with an appetite for murder and mayhem. Art sets his sights on a bereaved family, in particular teenage Sienna and her brother Jonathan. It's Halloween and the streets are about to run with blood. If you know these type of films, they are gory and they are bloody. And I mean, yeah. Utterly disturbing, a gore-drenched nightmare, horror's greatest clown. Yeah. Kind of excited to watch that because I don't know what happens. It hasn't been spoiled for us, so yeah. Next up is a film I haven't seen, but apparently it's not meant to be that good, but reading it does sound good because it's a fear of mine. The Deep House. I hate water. I hate when cameras go underwater. I hate it. So watching this is going to be an anxiety journey. Tina and Ben are a couple of young YouTubers specialised in underwater exploration videos. While diving in a remote lake, they discover a house submerged in deep waters. What initially a unique finding soon Okay, whoever makes these covers, right? Whoever makes these, make sure there's enough room to, like, don't do this. I need to point this out. This is stupid. Have a look at that. Oon. S. Oon. You couldn't have moved it. You couldn't have moved it. I thought I was saying things there. Soon turns into a nightmare when they understand the house was the scene of an atrocious crime. Trapped with their oxygen reserves fallen dangerously, Tina and Ben realise the worst is yet to come. They are not alone in the house. So it's like a haunted house underwater. I don't know, but not sure if I'm excited to see that. We're getting there. We're getting there. Next up is a classic film that I was told is a horror film. Haven't seen it. Apparently it's good. It's Interview with a Vampire. Again, haven't seen it, haven't heard about it. Well, I've heard of it. I just don't know what it's about. The undead are among us and livelier than ever when Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt and a talented group of young bloods star in Interview with a Vampire. The spellbinding screen adaptation of Anne Rice's bestseller, award-winning box office favourite, Cruise stylishly plays the supreme, evil and charismatic vampire Lestat Pitt. Lestat Pitt is Louis. Right. I don't know. I can't. I'm reading it out loud. Not my specialty subject. Lured by Lestat into the immortality of the damned, then tormented by an unalterable fact of vampire life, to survive he must kill Stephen Ray, Antonia Banderas, Christian Slater, and newcomer Kirsten Dunst also star. That's one weird blurb at the back. Like, damn. I guess this is going to be a good watch. I mean, those actors, wow, that's some talent. Yeah, that's some talent. Then I come up to Wrong Turn 5. I don't even want to read it. The Wrong Turn films are just getting worse and worse as time goes on, and I'm glad that Wrong Turn 6 is the last original one, because at least the remake looks decent. I will say that. So, Wrong Turn 5. What's happening in you? Oh, it's the one I watched on TV that I fell asleep. Well, watched this a few years ago and I fell asleep. The Cutting Edge Tower continues on a small town hosts the legendary Mountain Man Festival on Halloween, where crowds of costumed partygoers gather for a wild night of music and mischief. But a killer celebration soon gives way to blood-soaked feeding frenzy when an inbred family of cannibals trick and treat themselves to a group of visiting college students who are just dying for a good time. What can I say? I need to watch it. I need to watch it all the way. I didn't finish it. But like, yeah, Wrong Turn 1, fantastic. Wrong Turn 2, okay, decent. Wrong Turn 3, nearly put me to sleep. Wrong Turn 4, I was just like, can I turn this off yet? Oh, I don't want to think about it. Right, the last film, Hallelujah. It only came out this year, and I watched it when I got it. It was a really good film. Nope. Jordan Peele's third outing as director and writer. Well, not as writer, he's wrote other films, but you know. Yeah, this one, I've heard people say it's not horror. There's horror elements in it. There is horror in the story. If you've watched it once, give it a second viewing, and you'll understand what I mean. It's good. It's great. I really liked it. He's getting better each film, I would say. Like, Get Out was good. Us was like, ooh, this is really good. This one, amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Where do I... So, following their father's shocking death, Hollywood animal wrangler OJ and his sister, Emerald, begin to observe unexpected phenomena on their vast Southern California ranch that leads them down an obsessive rabbit hole as they plot attempts to capture the mystery on camera. Along with a former child star turned family theme park ringmaster who neighbours the siblings, the pair efforts to chase the spectral soon bring terrifying consequences and unimaginable horror. The result is a complex social thriller that unpacks the seeds of violence, risk, and opportunism that are inseparable from the romanticised history of the American West. Yeah, it's a really good film. I would recommend you watch it if you haven't already seen it. And last but not least, it's a box set. It's not horror, but there is horror episodes in it. It's my favourite TV show. I've been binge watching it for a week now. Well, I started watching it a few episodes each day, and then I was like, nah, I need to watch this, so I started binging it. Now I've been doing so for the past week or two. It is The X-Files complete collection, all season 1 to 11. Yeah, I love it. I've got an X-Files shirt. I won the films. I used to love X-Files as a kid, and I've started watching it again. And I can see why I loved it. X-Files was actually the very first thing I ever tried my hand at screenwriting. So yeah, that's the films for this month. I can finally give my voice a rest because this has been one long video. Have a nice day.